God. It doesn't make sense to me, dude.
Sean here. Are there any ways to wake Chance up? I think there are. I think one that is really sobering and can be really difficult, I would say, for people. There was an exercise we did back when I was in school. You had to find somebody you knew, somebody you trusted, and what you did, and this was really hard, have them write a eulogy for you. As it stands right now, what would be said about you at your funeral? It has to be someone you trust, and it has to be someone that can take themselves there emotionally. Who does he have? Sally or Ed? And I think Sally wouldn't want to hurt his feelings. Today we're here to remember Chance Wilkins, who shouldn't have survived 1 pound, 1 lung, 72 kidneys, and a 0.5 inch wing wang. Our sexual no, I'm just kidding. I hope to God that's not true with Sally. What could she say? Chance, if he was dying, he would probably want to write his own eulogy. His ghost would haunt Sally because he wants to control the narrative. I would imagine that at his funeral, some buddy troll would show up, and finally, they would reveal themselves. I'm here today to remember the PDF supervillain named Chance Wilkins. I recognize pregnant Ed in attendance and failure of a mother Sally. I don't think they would write it. Have one of your friends do it. Have your significant other do it. Oh yeah. It's almost like the most harsh therapy you could ever have. And if you get sure we had our differences, sure we had our certain amount of fights or whatever it was, but in the end, he was a loving father. Whoa. But in the end, sure we had our holy crap. If that's in there, work on your relationship with whoever it is. You've heard me give ways to wake him up before. You have. And I think I mentioned it too, where you have your son or daughter and they idolize someone. Have them tell you why they like them. Then have them tell you what a regular day is for them. Have them compare themselves to them and make sure they go into detail. And then what you're going to do is ask them to compare themselves to you. And a lot of the kids will be very, very loving towards their parent. If that's true, if you can tell they're being extra sensitive and they don't want to hurt your feelings or they put you on a pedestal, you need to explain to them that these same people that you don't know, you only see what they want you to see. You have no idea what they're like. And you're talking about them like you're talking about me. Oh, they're so cool. They're amazing. Look at what they do. Look, they give to charity. I mean, you'd be lucky if it was like Jake or Logan Paul. You could just pull up their real history and boom. It is absolutely crucial for your children, for yourself, especially for Cyraxx, to have realistic personal perspective. How do you tell someone like Cyraxx? How do you tell them what their weaknesses are? How do you explain to them that their weaknesses, knowing their weaknesses, makes them strong? That thing about Lorne, I always say, if he could just understand that he is stupid, and he knows he is stupid, and that almost makes him smart. I've speculated about why Cyraxx is the way he is, why he thinks he's a rock star, why he's so delusional. I think I was in Moth's chat the other night, and schizophrenia was brought up, and I did wonder myself sometimes. I mean, he was joking, but he said maybe the people that Cyraxx talks to are himself. Maybe he talks to himself, and it appears to him, or his mind translated, and it's an actual conversation. I don't want to get into it because the modern definition of schizophrenia is so complicated. It's something I never really even bothered to research into. I didn't think my mind at the time it was brought up, other than just the general understanding, was capable of any intricate, complex, personal relationship someone might have with a different side of themselves.
But if let's say he has epic mood swing disorder, and he's on such he's in such a manic episode that it's almost euphoric, and he's talking to himself or looking in the mirror. Maybe he saw one of these self-help videos and he's talking to himself about everybody loves you. You remember that time this guy said something? If you're not in one of those upswings and you say that, you can look at it from a realistic perspective, but Chance can't. He would be at such a high that whatever he said would feel euphoric to him. He would love bomb himself. It's scary. And if he did get it from one of his mentors, as he say, which we know it was another video, and I believe the video we were watching, he had something up on his screen in the background. I still don't know where the hell, if that's a real PC or laptop, and somebody gave it to him. Slap! You can get an ancient laptop at Goodwill, I think. You can get it from one of these resellers at a swap meet, flea market. We're pretty cheap. Unless their rent, wherever they are, is really high, and then they have to up price everything. The intake for him, it should be monitored from all angles, because you can't wake him up if you have all of this information that's going into that already small brain. Look at the shape of his head. Look at the shape of his face in those images. Look at his neck. He has that nasty beard, and sometimes I wonder if he has the beard because if he doesn't, he's going to truly 100% look like an alien goblin. And just saying that, if he heard me say it, well, Lil Wayne calls himself an alien. I'm Lil Wayne. I'm Little Cyraxx. So we talked about the eulogy, talked about the comparison with someone he idolizes and himself, trying to make his personal perspective realistic. Again, with the eulogy, when they write it, if it's not good enough, the first draft, you make them go back. And if you really want to be thorough, and I'm not advising you to do this if you are in a rocky relationship or it's an acquaintance, I'm not advising you to do this. What you want is someone who's going to tell you the truth. You know how the other way? Have them write a dating profile for you. But again, if they're not being honest, you can't accept it. You have to have them dig deeper and maybe ask them to give a personal eulogy if they were talking to you at your grave. Now the dating profile. Let's have them write it. How can I describe this best? Have your significant other or somebody you trust write you a dating profile, not only to get you in the door, but a year from when you meet them, say it's successful, you're explaining to them how you really are. So instead of loves long walks on the beach and all that shit you see on a dating profile, some people have their friends write it. It's very complimentary. Like socially awkward, they make it quirky and cute. But you want one that's gonna say, at times, he is extremely difficult, but they always come through in the end. Sure, you may be pissed off. Sure, you may want to punch them in the face, but they remain a good person. Harsh. Doesn't have to be that. It was kind of corny, but you know what I mean. A real description. Now, if you want to do, this one is dangerous. Woo! Dangerous as shit. With your significant other, I want you to write how you met them, what your journey has been like up to this, what you think of them, the ups, the downs, times you may have felt like you wanted to quit, times that you felt like they wanted to quit, when you felt your most vulnerable, and then you have them write the same thing. And if you've been together forever, like 20 years, you might want to pick like a decade or 5 years, a really rocky 5 years, and write it as if it's a story and they aren't going to be the ones that read it. Corny, I know. But you get a perspective, personal perspective. You get how you're seen by other people. And you also find out if the way you see yourself is realistic or what you thought was happening was even real. All of this is dangerous. The lies, man, sometimes they can be very forgiving, easy to digest, but when you step into the realm of the truth, you are asking to get punched right in the heart. I will never have some kind of weird reconciliation conversation with my ex, ever. I don't care, because I felt disrespected at the end. Okay, hush. Man, if this doesn't work and you end up in a divorce, please just don't blame me. I'm just giving you, if you feel confident enough in your relationship. Some people get to the point where one spouse won't have sex with the other spouse. Could be a number of things. Weight gain. I mean, it's true. I heard the most honest man in the history of men. He was a minister. It's a big church. And he said something. Everyone was kind of taken aback, but it got people talking. And then I'll get to the other part. But this was ballsy. Men, women, when you marry each other, you marry that person. And while you may change personality-wise, as life weighs on you, if you are 110 pounds and you balloon up to 160 and you can't figure out why your spouse is not attracted to you anymore, you get a bizarre haircut, you let yourself go, and then you blame the spouse, there is a problem. Yeah, it's superficial, but you can't tell me you're like, oh yeah, I totally want to hit that. Oh, the personality's off the chart. That's what I'm looking at. No. And that's one thing I would never recommend a male discusses with a woman is weight, unless you want to get your dinghy chopped off in the middle of the night. But there is a dilemma that men and women hit, and this is a gamble right here. So please don't blame me if you get divorced. Sometimes a woman won't sleep with the man because they don't like the way they're being treated. And the man isn't getting any, and he wasn't getting any. And so he's treating the woman like he's frustrated with her, he's angry. It is one of the biggest reasons for divorce. You just drift further and further apart because men are physical beings and women, they're emotional beings. And if anyone says differently, come on, man. You're either one of these woke psycho people who refuses to accept reality, or you're based and you're just in denial. Women use something like 10,000 words a day. Men use much, much less. If you watch Red Letter Media, I think it was one of the Star Wars reviews. It was the most honest thing I think I've ever heard that channel say. Men, when they're talking about their ideal woman, is she hot? Yeah, man. Is she psycho? Nah, she's cool. There it is. Boom. Describing your woman. Got a nice butt. Boom, you're done. With women, it was like, I wanted to be good with kids, but not too good with kids in a creepy way. I want him to be spontaneous, but only when it's convenient for me. And it just goes on and on and on. And I mean this sincerely. If any woman ever thinks that I'm disrespecting women, if aliens landed and threatened to blow up the planet, and they said, give us one good reason we shouldn't, I would grab the nearest woman, I would put her in the transport beam, she'd go up, she'd come back down, they'd get on the loudspeaker and say, yeah, we got it, you're all right, we out of here, and it would sound just like that. Women are, especially the female form, is a work of art. All sizes, shapes, colors, doesn't matter. I mean, I really do feel like women are a work of art. And then you've got men, and we're just kind of like walking bricks. Or if you're really big, a walking egg. I'm not being sexist, I'm telling you the truth. I take that back, because if you were to grab a Karen and send her up there, oh, I know you didn't just bring me up in this spaceship. Look at the filth in that corner. You think you could pick me? All right, we're blowing up the earth. You hear a lot of times men want beauty, women want security, it's the way a man makes them feel. So if you're writing all this stuff, just keep that in mind. Your perspective is going to be way different than your wife, and I feel like I should delete that shit out, but I'm not going to. Cyrax isn't a man. How the hell could he even do that with any woman? Why didn't you write? Come on, be real. Why didn't you write only positive things about me? Why didn't you talk about my outstanding artwork or my music or all this other stuff. Well, Chance, you don't have a job, you can't support anybody, you've never sold anything to anyone, you use AI art, you scream poorly over vocals, you have nothing. So there was this one time that Chance helped me put laundry together. Chance is literally the guy you would pull out a driver's license at his funeral and say, Chance was 4'11", weighed 72 pounds, and I'll never forget how he was from Akron and he so bravely lived at 339 Lloyd Street or whatever it is, and the cops, they lovingly named him a 43. What could you say? What could you say about him? Nothing. As you get older, I wonder how many people would actually show up to my funeral. Mean Gene Okerlund died, very well-known wrestling announcer, commentator, whatever you want to call it. And pretty much nobody showed up to his funeral. He was supposedly beloved. So, Chance, buddy trolls would show up to his funeral. They would mingle, make up bullcrap stories. I could even see a buddy troll hiring one of the Power Rangers to show up and cry at his freaking funeral. I'm sure some of them are desperate. I know some of them have fallen from grace and they need crack money. But if you go through all of what I just said, you take a look at all of it and you're brave enough to try it, and you're brave enough, boy, it takes some bravery. It really does. It will be interesting to know the things you get back. I mean, I wouldn't share them with anybody, because once you internalize them, if you're frustrated with it and you start telling everybody else, once you share your frustrations with somebody, they just get magnified because now somebody else knows about them. And I don't know, maybe subconsciously you're worried about their opinion, or you take terrible advice because they don't know the whole situation, which is why I fucking hate buddy trolls, because they're making it worse. I made that video. You're putting Sally in danger. You're putting Ed in danger. You're keeping this little goblin in his delusions. He's getting worse and worse every year. As much as I hate this piece of human garbage, I either want him arrested for what he's done, or I want him in a mental state, a healthcare facility. I want him away from human beings. Whether he succeeds in getting help or not, they have to at least try. Because fuck Chance Wilkins. Listening to him, I may have to take a break from listening to him because I'm getting more and more frustrated. It's like worse than DSP. Listening to this bullshit that comes out of his mouth, all the lies and the cope, all the threats and the tough guy act. And by the way, if you're a DSP follower, I just want to remind you of the time where he talked so much shit about whipping everybody's ass. This was back when he was going to tournaments. Then somebody confronted him and he started sobbing like a little girl. I mean, like literally sobbing. And started the whole, I was mistreated, I'm an alcoholic, I've got all this. Then shut your fucking mouth. So anyway, that's a whole bunch of shit to think about and digest. I hope some of you try it with someone that you trust. Start off light, and then if you think you're getting somewhere, move to the heavier stuff. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you guys later.
It doesn't make sense to me, dude. Oh, God.